Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to April 16, 2025. We have about 1 hour and 16 minutes left of trading today. Now, before we have a look at the ASX today, have a look at interesting announcements, that sort of thing, what has led our market to be a little bit higher than I thought it would be. And yes, we will discuss that. I do have a little request for you. Now, as you probably know, we are very near Easter. And if you would like to bake me some hot cross buns, feel free to do it. I'm not sure how you get it to me, but that's not my request. My request is I am planning to do a video on a Friday. So we're talking about less than 2 days from now. That is going to be a non-investing related video, Q&A video, where you will be able to ask me any question you have about me, myself, and I. Any facets of my life that is not investing related. My favorite color, my favorite movies, my earliest memory, my favorite or least favorite place in the world, that sort of thing. You can ask me anything you want. So just leave your questions in the comment section of this video or any video I release tomorrow. And I plan to answer 20 questions, only 20. Now, if I do receive about 40 questions, I will have to pick and choose. And the way I'll pick and choose is any question that has multiple thumbs up. So if it has 10 thumbs up, I will answer that question. And if I don't get 20 questions, say I only get 10 questions, I'll have to fill the rest with my own questions about myself. And they might be some boring questions. I have no idea. Anyway, so I do plan to record that video on Friday. I'm not sure what time at this point. I'm thinking of doing a long run on Friday. Maybe like a 20-kilometer run on Friday, which means I could and probably would record that video at around about 10 to 11 a.m. So definitely get in your questions before 10 a.m. on Friday. This is Australian Eastern Standard Time, not West Australian time, because that would be 8 a.m. Anyway, and if you're in another country, I have no idea, because I could go through all 180. There's not 180 time zones, but 180 countries. And I could go through every single time zone in the world, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, now onto the ASX today. I won't go through the agenda because I have almost the same agenda every single day. Nothing extra in today's video. So let's start off with looking at what's happened on the ASX today. And we've had a relatively good day. I thought we were going to see a red day because our futures were down on open. Now, their futures close at 7 a.m. and then they reopen just before trading begins. So we were expecting a bit of a red day. And not only that, futures in America were down. In fact, NASDAQ futures is down 1.49%. So there could be a bit of selling on the American markets overnight. But just because futures are down doesn't mean they're going to have a bad day. But I'm a little bit surprised we are up. But when you come to think about it, now, I did have a theory here that because of Bank of Queensland half-year results, which were good, I thought, wow, much better than I anticipated, and I'm assuming the market thinks likewise, that maybe the banks have been doing the heavy lifting today. And that was my thinking until I noticed small caps and tech are up as well. Resources are down a fair bit, but so it looks like maybe my theory is not absolutely true, that the banks have had a really good day. And that's why we've seen green on the ASX, the XJO, and even the XAO. Okay, so let's see how good my theory is by looking at the performance of sectors and indices. Notice tech had a really good start. What happened there? Up like a rocket, down again. Anyway, the other thing I've noticed here, we've seen most of the indices go up during the day. So it's actually been a good day, but funny enough, the American futures have not been rising. They've been dropping, I think. Yeah, I'll be going sideways through most of the day. Yeah, going sideways. So no real big lead in from the American futures, which usually happens. Now it's sectors and indices. There's financials at the top, one up 1.38%. In fact, the ASX 200 banks up 1.4%. So the ASX 200 banks are 7 banks that are in the ASX 200. So this is not 200 banks. It's those banks that are in the ASX 200 or the XJO. I actually did mix that up. I did make a mistake I don't know how long ago, that I thought this particular indice had 200 banks in it. Nope, no, it's got 7. It's got 7. Anyway, so I will discuss Bank of Queensland because it is in my top 5 stocks of the day. But anyway, another bifurcated market today. So financials, pretty good day. Staples, bad day yesterday, good day today. So I thought maybe yesterday everyone was piling out of staples into financials. So it looks like everyone's piling out of energy today into financials and staples because energy has had a horrendous day, down 2.42%. Now, energy consists of coal, oil, gas, and uranium. So I am interested to see what has caused a bit of selling in that space. So let's have a look at energy and let's have a look at the best and worst performing companies we'll list this by market cap. Oh, it's just a sea of red. Sea of red, Whitehaven Coal down 6.57%. So with New Hope and Yancoal also down big, that means coal's had a pretty bad day. Woodside down, Santos down, Ampol did release a bit of an update. They're down, but not by much. Beach Energy down. Even uranium companies down. Paladin and Boss Energy. Croon up, which is interesting. They also released an update, and I thought the share price might drop because they had lower production in the quarter, but it was anticipated, and I think the production should rebound. So that is, look at this, the best. No, it's Amplitude Energy, up 2.86%. Used to be called Cooper, and Amplitude Energy did release an upgrade today. I'm pretty sure they released an upgrade today. And the reason I know this is because they released an announcement yesterday. What did they release yesterday? Yeah, Quarter Report. I went, I've never heard of this company before. Amplitude Energy, where'd they come from? Did they recently list? No, they just changed the name from Cooper Energy to Amplitude for some reason. Anyway, so production guidance increase, share price up. So good going, Amplitude Energy. You've been the best performer in this particular space. And if you go further down, yeah, uranium down big. All these uranium companies down. Not a good day to be a uranium company today. Okay, so let's move on to, shall we have a look at the ASX 20? Yes, why not? ASX 20 up 0.36%. So obviously, maybe not obviously, I would assume iron ore's down. So Rio, BHP, Fortescue down. We already know Woodside's down. Santos is down. I'd say most, if not all, the banks are up. I'd say Woolworths is up, Coles is up. We don't know Telstra. Well, Telstra doesn't matter because for some reason it's not in this particular list. I'm going to say 13 companies up, 7 down. Now I'm going to say 12 up, 8 down. Oh, 14 up, 6 down. Which 6 companies are down? Fortescue, Woodside, Rio Tinto, BHP, Goodman Group, Real Estate, and CSL, which is interesting. And the best performing companies have been QBE, Financials, Westpac, Coles, ANZ, REA Group, it's just interesting, Woolworths, NAB, Transurban, and then CBA. In fact, CBA up 1.23, NAB 1.33, ANZ 1.63, Westpac 1.92. And I have no doubt the reason those company share prices are up today is because of Bank of Queensland. But they're still, particularly CBA, all the banks are, well, maybe not significantly overvalued, but definitely CBA is probably the most expensive bank in the world by far. Might be even the most expensive company in the world by far. I might be being a little bit dramatic in saying that. Anyway, so pretty good day for the banking sector today on the back of Bank of Queensland, which I will discuss later in the video. Now on to the best gainers, or the top gainers and top losers. It used to be the best gainers and top losers, and then they changed it for some reason. So top gainers and top losers. Okay. Now, during my live session this morning, someone did point out that Neuroscientific Biopharmaceutical share price was up a lot, and it's still up a fair bit, 65%. So what I'm going to do before we have a look at the top 5, I'm just going to discuss a few small cap companies that have either released some interesting announcements today or, there's no other. Anyway, so Neuroscientific Biopharmaceuticals is in that. Did not make it in the top 5. Equity Story is another company I want to discuss. That is coming in number 3. Share price up 55.56%. But the turnover, $560. They did release something today, and that's it. And DXN, fun enough, 3 small caps I want to talk about are in this list. And the other company I want to talk about is in a trading halt. So DXN up 20%. I'll talk about that. Zip, stock of the day. And shall I say, I did buy some Zip shares today as a trade. And I thought this could be a trend killer. Trend was down. This could be killing the trend. And then this could be the start of a new uptrend for Zip. That's the simple reason I bought some shares. Yes, so that's playing in that trend killer theme that I've been dealing with or playing with over the past few months. Okay, so I'll talk about Zip because it is a stock of the day. Top gainers by market cap. What do we have here? Genesis Minerals. They did, up 8.64. I probably should discuss that company. And in fact, General Minerals should be in the top 5, maybe. Okay, so they did, and I'll talk about it now. So General Minerals, Genesis Minerals. Is it Genesis? Genesis Minerals, yeah. They did release an update, a report, not an update, a report. And I did have a look at this because it was released fairly early. And I tried to look at all the quarter reports of the big mining companies fairly quickly. And you do have to do that fairly quickly. And this seemed pretty good. Not amazingly good, but it seemed pretty good. On track to meet financial year 2025 guidance. Record quarterly gold production with gold prices rising. Cash is increasing. Do they mention cash here? All-in sustaining costs. Talk about that as well. So everything about this was pretty good. There we go. Cash and equivalents, 348.4 million. It was only 237.5 million 3 months ago. So cash and equivalents have increased significantly over the past 3 months. Cash build of 145.3 million and an audited profit of 68 to 72 million. It's funny, when I saw that unaudited profit, I just analyzed that and I went, if the market cap of this company is below a certain amount, I can't remember what that was, but say, I'm going to buy this, but it was actually well above that. It was well above what I was going to buy. So I was just timing that by 4 and then adding, I think it was like 8 to it. So 4, 140, so 142, was it 100, 280, or say 300. And then I just added times that by, I think it was times by 10. So I said, if the market cap of this company is below $3 billion, I might buy some shares. It's not. It's not. The market cap of Genesis is $4 billion. Yeah, 4.5 billion. Anyway, so let's have a look at the chart for Genesis Minerals. I have a feeling, without even looking at this chart, it's going to be a great chart. And it's probably going to look even better now. Oh, yeah, look at this chart. But by the way, that's the 200-day moving average. What I might do is put in, this one. What a brilliant looking chart. Although my one concern with this chart is you can see it's starting to go exponential. And now exponential in the long term is okay. So when you're talking about long term, you have a look at the NASDAQ chart. So if you have a look at the NASDAQ chart and then the monthly, this should be going exponential. Yeah, see, it's going exponential, but that's normal. This is when you need to look at a log chart. It sort of makes sense. But when you look in the ultra short term, like Genesis Minerals, so when I mean ultra short term, like the last, not that long, you just see it starting to accelerate. The share price is getting well above the moving averages. So I do get a little bit nervous about that, and that means I do expect a bit of a pullback. But this could be, based on the back of a nice report, this could be a nice little, I wouldn't call it a breakout, but just a good indication that the uptrend is really strong. So Genesis Minerals probably deserve to be in the top 5 in hindsight. And I didn't give the company as much credence as I probably should have. Zip there, Bellevue Gold, nice little bounce. Hyperion, Southern Cross Gold, consolidated. Heartland Group did release a bit of an update. This is also a bank. I'm pretty sure this is a New Zealand bank. Their update was actually pretty good as well. Now, I don't think I follow this company as closely. And in fact, the chart looks pretty horrendous. So could this be the bottom for Heartland Group? Maybe. By the way, the volume not that high. Where is it? Yeah, the volume fairly low, but that could be normal for this company. AIC Mines did release some sort of announcement today. Share price up 8.59%. So AIC, what is it? A1M? Yeah. What did they release today? It was significant increase in ore reserves. That's a nice sounding announcement. The market likes it. So let's have a look at this particular chart, A1M. This one did pop up not that long ago. Oh, for the wrong reasons. Okay. Yeah. I noticed this did pop up not that long ago, but sometimes I don't remember if it was for a good reason or a bad reason, and it was for a bad reason. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And the next one, that's about it. Oh, Osco Healthcare. So this is a company I do own, and because I do own it, I decided not to even talk about it. But share price up 9.8% on a nice contract. Nice contract. Share price has pulled back a fair bit for Osco Healthcare. Did pull back a fair bit. There's me buying at 24.5 cents. Yeah, and I'm going to get rid of that orange line. This is more of a long-term hold for me, not a training stock, more of a long-term hold because they are hitting goals, they're winning contracts, and I'm not going to sell just because of the volatility. So let's move on to the top losers. Not the 52-week highs, although Neuroscientific Bio Pharmaceuticals is at a 52-week high. Okay, let's have a look at top losers today. A very small company called GLG Corp is down 23% on $888 of trading. Now, is 8 considered a bad or good word in Chinese? Don't Chinese have good, bad word numbers? I mean, good, bad numbers. In Chinese culture, the numbers 8 and 6 are generally considered lucky, while 4 is often considered associated with bad luck. Does that mean if you see a turnover of 888, that's good luck? So you should be buying a GLG Corp. No, you should not. No, you shouldn't. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, this company manufactures clothes somewhere in Southeast Asia. I'm pretty sure I looked at this company once, and for some reason I remember it. Select Harvest in my top 5 stocks of the day, so we can move on, down 15.16%. I had a very quick look at their announcement this morning, and it wasn't close enough because I was wondering why the share price was down 15%, and then I had a closer look and I went, oh yeah, no doubt, and we'll talk about why. Lithium companies down, nothing much else here. So let's have a look at top losers by market cap. Oh, we already know Whitehaven Coal, Minres, iron ore, Perpetual released some sort of update 2 days ago. Neuropharmaceuticals share price has popped up. Accent Group share price popped up yesterday, down again today. So who knows what's happening there? And nothing else much to talk about here. I'm sorry, there's not. Okay, so before, just noticed extra is only up 0.19%. Before we have a look at the top 5 stocks, quite a few companies, I'll go through these fairly quickly. Mercury New Zealand had a downgrade. Share price is up. Weird. Air New Zealand had some sort of update. I think they released guidance. They hadn't released guidance before. Now they've released guidance. Share price up 1.9%. I've already talked about Heartland Group. Osco, Australian Ethical Funds released a bit of AUM or FUM announcement. COG Financial released financial, I think it was a Q3 financial update. Unaudited trading results, share price down a little bit. What else? Ampol released a quarterly update. We're getting a lot of these now, trading update. So this is a time of year we're going to see more and more trading updates. XJ is starting to drop. A company called Karma Corporation or Co. Have announced that we'll be selling Fiji Kava in Woolworths. Share price is too low for me to even be thinking about it. We saw, in terms of quarterly results or quarterly activities results or that sort of thing, Mount Gibson, alongside Genesis, we saw Mount Gibson, share price down. We also heard stuff from Aluka, share price down. Rio Tinto, share price is down. And Karoon, share price is up. And also AML3D released another announcement, largest custom alchemy system online at Austal USA. Did not look at that announcement. And that's it. So now I'm just going to talk briefly about these small cap companies that released something interesting today, starting with Stealth Group. So you probably have heard me talk about Stealth Group a fair bit in the past. And they went into training halt this morning. Now, whenever I hold a company and they go into training halt, I'm always, I hope it's not a capital raising. I usually think that. Hope it's not a capital raising, and this is for a capital raising. I don't think they mentioned why. They just said, regarding a capital raising. So this could be, it's going to be interesting to see why. I don't think they really need a capital raising based off financials. If we have a look at their financials, so we go back to the most recent financials. Now, I have mentioned in the past that it's not a bad thing when a share price of a company has run hard that a company does a capital raising to take advantage of that. But I wasn't thinking of Stealth Group. And if you have a look at their balance sheet and that sort of thing, so what's the balance sheet is the next one. They have plenty of cash, $10.4 million of cash, not much debt. Or maybe they do. Financial liabilities is $21.3 million, but I thought that's probably okay because equity is, in fact, I'd like to see that financial liability. So Decade equity is almost 100%. So there could be a possibility where they're raising money to decrease their debt, financial liabilities. So that is a possibility. Another possibility is they want to expand. So they need a little bit more capital to expand, or maybe an acquisition. So I'm interested to see why they're doing capital raising, and also how much of a discount. Now, I did take profits with Stealth Group. I sold half. Because I wasn't getting an absolute sell signal, but I was a little bit uncomfortable that I had a big position in this company because share price has rallied a fair bit since I bought. And there is now a question, depending on the discount, whether I buy back some shares. So the company had run up maybe 5-fold since I bought. And it's not that long. We're talking about, what's that? 1.5 years. Anyway. So it's that Stealth Group. Wouldn't be surprised to see it tomorrow morning, but I would assume they're in trading halt to trading halt. The trading halt won't be until Tuesday. Tuesday. But I wouldn't be surprised if they mention it or they just talk about the capital raising tomorrow. So it doesn't mean we won't hear about this until next Tuesday. There is a chance we'll hear about this tomorrow. Although they do have a long time now. It's got 6 days. 6 days. Why is the market closed Friday and Monday? Okay, so let's go into looking at a few of these really interesting announcements. We'll start off with probably the least interesting one in terms of share price movement. DXN. I have had a look at this company in the past. I've been interested. I've dabbled with it, that sort of thing. They own sort of like portable data centers, that sort of thing. But they executed first data center as a service contract. Yes, data center as a service. So I'm assuming this must be a portable data center. I have no idea. Anyway, so they call it a data center as a service, DCaaS, with a US-based global provider of satellite earth stations design, build, and deploy prefabricated technical infrastructure at initial Northern Territory site. They have given some numbers. TCV, $3.6 million over 5 years, which includes an upfront payment of approximately $600,000. Okay, so that's a nice little announcement from this company. And so this is the first data center as a service announcement. Now, I don't remember I'm pretty sure DXN does release Appendix 4Cs. Yes. So this company has been burgeoning on being operating cash flow positive and profitable. Not last quarter, though. They were operating cash flow negative by $2.652 million. And if we have a look at the chart, I'm pretty sure the share price had been in a bit of a funk, and it might be rallying now. Let's have a look. Oh, not quite. Don't know why I have a line there. That's a resistance line there, but we can get rid of that now. So share price has been a bit of a funk and not really coming out of that just yet. You can see a nice little rally in the share price from last May, April, May. And I was actually trading DXN at that point, and I got out. By the way, the market cap of DXN, I'm assuming it's like 20 million. Actually, it might be like 10 million now. Yeah, 10.75 million. So it's not a big company. Talking about not big companies, we have a company called Equity Story. equity story has a market cap of 5.64 million. I'm pretty sure those who know Claude Walker and The Rich Life, I'm pretty sure that that was bought out by the equity story. The Rich Life equity story, I'm pretty sure the Rich Life equity story involves the acquisition of a financial medium company by Equity Story Group. Yeah, so that's true. Yeah. Acquisition of a Rich Life equity story. Yeah. So that's how I do know equity story, because I don't follow a Rich Life all that closely, but that's how I do know about equity story. They're not interesting when you have a look at their financials. Very uninteresting story, not much growth, but the share price is up a lot today. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you have a look at the most recent Appendix 4C, it's like, I was like, no interest in this company at all. Cash receipts 194,000, operating cash flow negative 456,000, and we hadn't seen receipts increasing at all. So it seems like management have got together and say we have to make some changes. We need to do something because the way we're going or heading, it's not going to be success. Anyway, so they've made a decision, strategic acquisition to expand into retail stockbroking. And this was actually something I've heard. What was it called? Not Brigham Young, Baker Young. Brigham Young is the Mormons. Brigham Young was one of the leaders of the Mormon movement into Utah. I'm pretty sure that's right. I don't know anything about religion, but Brigham Young, there's also a university named after him, and I'm pretty sure he was the second president, first governor of the Utah from 1851 until 1858. I'm pretty sure he was one of the people who led the Mormons into Utah. How do I know that? Oh, jeez. Anyway, so this was, we'll go back to this announcement. This was Baker Young, which I have heard of before. So this was like, what? Acquisition expected to be earnings accretive? Well, you hope so. And otherwise, why would you make the acquisition? And it wasn't that much. So Baker Young has $700 million in funds under management, $180 million under managed discretionary accounts, $4.5 million unaudited financial year 24 revenue. So equity story is going to be significantly bigger because of this acquisition. It wasn't that big. $4.2 million in cash, fully funded through debt, plus issue of 10 million escrowed EQS options. Anyway, so it looks like the market has digested this and went, this could be company changing. They're also going to release an announcement tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm not sure why tomorrow. Why not today? Anyway, so let's have a little chart for equity story. And the chart was horrendous before this. I don't think, the chart was horrendous. So this came listed back in 2022 at 20 cents. Share price is now 3.4. And you can see some big volume coming in since the start of this year. I don't know why, but today has made this company a little bit more interesting in my eyes. So that's the equity story. And finally, Neuroscientific Biopharmaceuticals. I think it was, I'm not going to say names because I'm going to go wrong. Someone did mention this in the live video this morning. Just put the ticker code. I went, oh, okay, have a look at this company. Share price up 57%, so not quite as high as equity story. Now, the reason why the share price is running up is because they have acquired a leading stem cell technology. And whoever mentioned this in the comment section, or not the comment section, but the live chat, is absolutely right. This is not the sort of announcement that would draw me into a company. The only thing that would draw me into the company, the only reason this might draw me in is because of the market reaction. And the market has reacted quite well to this. Now, the problem, or my problem with this is this is still a story. It's still a story. They're talking about phase, so acquisition, early indications from the phase 2 trial in refractory Crohn's disease. So that's what they do. So this is not going to help this company generate any revenue in the near term or any receipts in it. So I'm assuming NSB has no receipts or there's still a story stock. So yeah, I'm not that interested in this announcement. Maybe this will be company changing. We'll realize that in 5 years' time. We'll look back and go, this is the acquisition that changed this company. But we just don't know that right now. And yeah, we just confirmed, yeah, no receipts. So Neuroscientific is still a story stock in my eyes. But you can't discount this sort of market reaction. And on top of that, bit of a breakout. Bit of a breakout happening. Share price has pulled back a little bit today. So share price, we have seen a little bit of selling. So that does tell me there's a little bit less strength in this announcement than what you want, because the sellers have been a little bit more motivated to sell than the buyers have been to buy today. That's why you see the share price drop. So the way to look at that is those who want to sell have been selling on market. Those who have been buying have just been pulling back, and they've got a price they want to buy. And if they're not buying on market, so if they bought on market, the share price would go up, not down. But so I think the buyers are more willing to buy at a limit, while the sellers are selling on market, and that's why the share price has been dropping. Now, we did see there is a bit of resistance where the share price is, because those were the highs about 1 year ago. But if we didn't see this red candlestick, that would make today a little bit more interesting for Neuroscientific Biopharmaceuticals. Okay, let's get to the top 5 stocks of the day, and we'll start off with Pentanet. This one's interesting. Really interesting. Share price has been all over the place today for Pentanet. Oh, XJO might be, it's only up 0.01%. So we have seen a little bit of selling in the XJO or the ASX since I started this video. We also seen a bit of buying in Pentanet because it was down about 10% earlier in the day, and not that long ago. And that was a surprise. Share price as low as 3.3 cents on the back of their Appendix 4C. And I'm going to say it does not deserve to be sold off on. Don't know why people are selling this. And I do have a reason behind that. Okay, I am a shareholder of this company, and I bought on the release of the most recent last Appendix 4C. They were operating cash flow positive. Now, that could have been a little bit of I was probably being a little bit too impatient buying at that point, but it was a small amount of shares. And I was thinking, this could be company changing. This could be an inflection point. And ideally, I'd like to wait one more quarter at least. But I had confidence that the company had hit that inflection point. And this is confirmation. Now, receipts did fall back a little bit from the previous quarter, but that's okay. The company is still operating cash flow and free cash flow positive. That's all that matters. Not only that, they were able to pay a little bit of debt back, not a lot, but a little bit. And the company's cash on hand did increase. So they have $2.3 million of cash on hand, and they have $2.195 million of debt. So the company is net cash at this point in time. Okay, so things are still moving in the right direction for Pentanet. And if we have a look at their cash receipts history, this is exactly what you want to see. A beautiful uptrend in cash receipts. So they're slowly growing, but they've hit that inflection point of becoming cash flow positive. And that's very important in a company's journey. Now, one of the reasons I do like this company is because they're sort of like a telecommunications. They have internet services and other stuff. I'm pretty sure only in West Australia. I could be wrong about that. But one of the reasons I do like that is it's very similar to like a software company, like a SaaS company, because they do have recurring revenues. And anyone who has internet service or phone service knows you tend to stick with who you got. On occasion, you do go to another competitor, and there is a bit of churn, not a lot of churn, say 1.5% churn for Pentanet, but they are increasing their customer base and they're increasing their receipts. And this does remind me of MyNet Phone back in the early 2010s. We saw similar receipts history for MyNet Phone, very slow increase. And once they hit that inflection point, the company just took off. So there is a possibility that might happen to Pentanet. And on top of that, the thing that attracts me to Pentanet is simply the valuation. Market cap is 16.89 million. So it's not a lot for a company that could grow their profits quite nicely over the next 5 years or so. So I'm happy to hold some shares, even though it's a small amount for the long term. And if they keep hitting goals, I'll add to that position over time. And by the way, I don't know what is happening, but the SJO is now in, oh no, it's not. I'm going to say it's in the red. I just noticed that in market index, it was in the red slightly. Oh, and tech's now in the red as well. Oh, so we have seen a little bit of selling recently. Okay, now on to company coming in number 4. Oh, by the way, the chart. No, the chart first. Pentanet. Now, the chart. So there was a downtrend. Now, this massive rise in share price back in March 2024 was on the back of a deal with NVIDIA. So that's not the sort of announcement that would get me excited about this company. It's the financials. So when we saw the last run in share price in January, that was on the back of their most recent Appendix 4C. Now, one of the differences between this Appendix 4C and that Appendix 4C was just the increase in customers. It was much more impressive last quarter, but they were operating cash flow positive and free cash flow positive this quarter, just like they were the last quarter. And the share price did rally to 6 cents. And I think one of the reasons we did see a bit of selling coming in is because overall negative sentiment in the market, but also there would be a lot of shareholders who did buy at higher prices and they're just slowly getting rid of their shares. And I'm hoping that we definitely have seen the base. I noticed the company's share price has a nice support level at about 2.8 cents. So I've decided if I see the share price get back to that level, 2.8 cents, I'll buy some shares. It seems like that's a nice little support level or a base for the shares in this company. Anyway, so it does look like maybe the share price wants to go on a run. And for some reason, someone wanted to sell shares at 3.3 this morning. I noticed this just after open. Yeah, so yeah, right after open share price, someone sold at 3.3, just dumped their shares, and that was a low. And there's been a bit of buying coming in since then. Not a lot, but it's all we need. Okay, now on to company coming in number 4. This probably deserves to be a little bit higher, but you'll notice why when we get to the other 3 companies. Bank of Queensland, share price up 4.69%. I was hoping for it to be up 5%. You can see XJO now down, so we are starting to see a little bit of selling coming in the market. Is that because of futures? Let's have a look. Yeah, NASDAQ is now down almost 2%. 2%. Oh, the horror. Won't anyone think of the kids? Anyway, Bank of Queensland released the half-year results today. There we go. Now, on the back of Bendigo Bank releasing the results not that long ago, like 2 months ago, I thought, oh, this is going to be horrible. And then I opened it up and I went, wait, this is not horrible at all. This is actually not that bad. And that was my first thought. This is not that bad. This is actually quite good. Bank of Queensland. I'd never think I'd say that about this particular company. I'll just show you this little chart here. Financial performance. So this company has been under pressure. So we're talking about cash earnings after tax on the top left. So had been dropping. This is looking at the last 5 half years. So first half 2023, second half 2023, first half 2024, etc., etc. And you can see cash earnings after tax been dropping. And this particular half year, they rose. Statutory net profit, not much happening there, but at least has risen this quarter. Common equity tier 1, a bit of a rise. Dividends per ordinary share after dropping, rising. Cash earnings per share, rising. Cash net interest margin had been dropping and now maybe back to rising. And cash return on equity, cash return on average equity had been dropping. It now looks like it might be rising. So definitely things to like about this particular half-year report from Bank of Queensland. Now, I went through this fairly quickly, really quickly. And sometimes when you go through something really quickly, you can miss things. And that's why sometimes I get it wrong. But at this point in time, share price is up 5%. So the market likes it. And let's have a look at the chart for Bank of Queensland. And the other thing I should mention is I'm not looking at how these results compare to expectations, and I didn't even have a look at any sort of trading update from the company. In fact, I did not even think about that until right now. I just saw the numbers and went, oh, that's better than I expected. And I had no expectations. So if we have a look at the half-year results announcement, their media release, I'm hoping to have some sort of trading update. Might be down a little bit further. Outlook. The Australian economy improved in half, reflecting increasing disposable household incomes, supported by a strong labour market, increasing consumer confidence. So that starts out pretty good. Further cash rate easing is expected, although timing depth of the easing cycle is uncertain. So at least they're not talking about a lot of uncertainty like other companies I'm mentioning. I saw that in one announcement today, just line after line of uncertainty. What's going to happen in the future? I forget what company that was. What company was that? Just started just going on and on about uncertainty. Anyway, they do mention there will be a step up in headline margin in second half of 2025 following execution of the brand strategy. Okay, let's have a look at the chart for Bank of Queensland. Here it is. It's not a bad looking chart. Now, if you have a look at TradingView, PE ratio is 18.89, dividend yield 5.26%. I'm not sure that PE ratio, that's PE ratios on the last half or full year. So if you have a look at the last full year, they had a profit of 285 million and 285 million. So how much profit did they have this particular half year? So we can actually adjust the numbers based off these results. So let's go to profit. 285, that adds up. So their profit now is at 305. So we can now say the P ratio is a little bit lower, maybe 16%. Still fairly high for this type of company. I would think about buying Bank of Queensland if I saw the P ratio like 10 or the price to book below 0.7 or 8. But the chart's okay as well. The chart's okay. Nothing wrong with the chart. Well, no, it's not the best looking chart, but at least it's not in a nosedive. Anyway, so that's Bank of Queensland, and I'm pretty sure the market agreed, thought these results were good, and that's why we have seen a bit of buying in the banks today. And I'm just going to have a quick refresh. XGO is still down 0.04%. So it was up about 0.3% when I started recording. Now it's down. So things can happen before the market close, as we have seen today. Now on to Select Harvest, coming in at number 3. Share price down 14.88%. And business update 2025. So when I saw this announcement released, it was released at 9:29 a.m. So I had to do this or look at this one fairly quickly because at this point I was thinking, oh, I should do a live video when it comes to Zip. And then I was going through all these other things I wanted to do. So I opened this one up and for some reason I just closed it. And I just had a quick look at these bullet points and I went, oh, sounds pretty good. And then I moved on. So strong and increasing almond prices, that's good because this is like a mining company. Their results, their financial results are dependent on almond prices because that's what they're mining. Well, not really mining, they're growing. Anyway, so maybe we've got it all wrong and almonds don't grow on trees, they grow in the ground. We have to mine them. Anyway, so that's pretty nice increase in almond prices. Updated crop estimate 24,000 million tonnes to 26,500 million tonnes. Strategy on track. So I thought, oh, that looks pretty good. But I didn't go further down. This was a downgrade when it comes to production. Yes, this comes to a downgrade when it comes to production. Even though they say the macroeconomic conditions for the Australian almond industry are extremely positive and Select Harvest expects them to continue, etc., etc., the reduced crop size in 2025 is a function of growing conditions. Yes, so this was a bit of a downgrade. So previously, they were forecasting production to be between 27,500 and 29,000 million tonnes. Now it's decreased. They also mentioned the increase in price expected to help offset the lower crop forecast. So if they didn't have a downgrade here, with the increasing almond prices, I would have thought that the share price would have rallied quite nicely today. But it's gone in the opposite direction. So this could be, particularly if you think almond prices are going to continue going up, you'd have to know pretty well what's happening in California. I would assume the vast majority of almonds are harvested in California. Let's do it right now. Almond harvesting areas by percentage. Come on, AI overview. Yeah, here we go. They've got Asia, Pacific, and Oceania, 78%, but that includes California. California. Here we go. Oh, they just mentioned 80% in these certain areas. Okay, a lot of almonds are produced or harvested in California, so that really drives how Select Harvest performs. Because if it's I forget the conditions almonds need for ideal growing conditions. It's not good rain, it's not drought. Maybe it's sort of in between, and also temperature as well is important as well. Anyway, so before today, the chart for Select Harvest actually looked pretty good. And I would assume that's on the back of increasing almond prices. But what the market didn't realize is Select Harvest was going to decrease their production. And that's why we have seen the share price drop. So a potential trend killer. Potential trend killer. I should put this into my trend killer. Where is it? Where is it? There should be a little thing where I can put, because they used to have a little option here where you can put a chart into a watch list, and then they got rid of it, and they used to have, did have a thing up here, I don't know. Select Harvest, anyway, so trend killer there for Select, or potential trend killer for Select Harvest. Now on to company coming in at number 2. We have Star Entertainment Group. Share price up 4.55%. It's interesting. We have seen a movement, some interesting volatility in share price of Star Entertainment Group today. Share price opened at 12.5 cents. That was also the high. Share price then fell to 10 cents. So that's like a 25, we'll say 20% drop in share price. And now the share price has gone back up to 11.5 cents. So a little bit of volatility in the share price of Star Entertainment Group today. So back to trading. The whole reason I did a live video this morning was because of Star Entertainment Group. So the reason why the shares in Star Entertainment Group were suspended was because they did not release their results in February in a timely manner. They had 2 years to release them. They finally released them after 2 months. And they also mentioned, was it last week, that they were or did receive some funding from Bali Group or something, Bali Group. So they've released their financial results yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, 15th. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking today's the 15th. No. So the released results yesterday. Okay, so a couple of things happening here. There was a lot of uncertainty in Star Group whether they were going to survive in the short term. Their funding from Bali Group, meant that uncertainty was alleviated. So that should have been fairly positive to the share price. However, on release of their results, these were negative. These were absolutely horrendous results. There's no two ways around it. These were horrible results, horrendous results. Not only that, they also released a trading update, and even the trading update was eek. Everything is down. Horrendous. Revenue down a lot. EBITDA down. EBITDA margin, of course, is down. EBIT down. All these are negative, by the way. Profit after tax, 136 million. But, so there's a loss of 136 million, not a profit. But I think the reported number would have been a loss of 302 million because there was a one-off in there. But net profit after tax before the one-offs, negative 136 million. So this company is not performing at all. Horrendous. And they also went through the different hotels. So Sydney, Brisbane, Gold Coast. Gold Coast is performing okay. So it's really the Star Sydney. Get rid of that. And Brisbane's just open. But if they were just relying on the Gold Coast casino, they could be doing okay. Yeah, here it is. So they've gone through all the different hotels or casinos. And yeah, Gold Coast is actually EBITDA positive and EBIT positive. Sydney's just... Anyway, they also released a trading update, and they must have had this trading update in the... was it the presentation? I thought it was in the financial report. I'm not sure. But it was definitely a trading update, and the trading update was not good. It must be in this one. Yeah, I remember going through this. Talking about, yeah, here we go, trading update. And yeah, it was It was pretty awful. Soft trading conditions have continued through third quarter, with group revenue of 271 million compared to 299 million in the second quarter. So it's even worse. This current quarter is even worse than the previous quarter. Deteriorating revenue reflects a seasonal softening in revenue, reduced levels of gaming visitation, and one-off impact of adverse weather events. Who would think that weather could affect casino performance? But yeah, not looking good for Star Entertainment Group. So I think what's been playing Star Entertainment Group's share price today has been, hey, it's really good that at least there's not a lot of uncertainty when it comes to financials or their debt, that sort of thing. How much they're burning through cash, because they do have a little bit of support at that end, but results were terrible. So that's why the share price hasn't risen or dropped by a significant amount. I thought there was a chance the share price could have dropped 30% today just because of the results, but the lack of or the alleviation of uncertainty, I think, has helped the company today. By the way, if the results were good enough, I think the share price would have rallied 50 to 100% today if the results were showing that things had started to improve. So that's how important these results were. Okay. Now on to stock of the day, Zip. And I did buy some shares today. And, market's not quite closed yet. Close to closing, and it looks like we might be in the red. Anyway, Zip released an upgrade. They didn't put it in the title. If you release an upgrade, put it in the title. This should have been third quarter financial year 25 results update and upgrade. In fact, they could have just said upgrade. And they actually mentioned in the title of the announcement up here, not the title in the here, not the title of the announcement, but in the, what do you call it up here? Upgraded financial year 25 guidance following accelerated growth and momentum. That's all you need to know. Upgrade. That is going to cause a rush for people to buy shares. Upgrade is the most powerful type of announcement a company can release, hence why the share price is up as much as 20% at one point today. And this was in regards to EBITDA. So the I is not in there because that's interest. So earnings before taxation, depreciation, amortization. And they were expecting 147 million. Now it's up to 153 million dollars. I thought this was a pretty good update from the company overall. I think things are moving in the right direction. My own problem with Zip isn't to do with the company performing. It's just there's too much interest in Zip, and you can see that just with the chart. That's why the share price is so volatile. So I still consider this more of a trading stock than any sort of long-term hold, because the share price, you can see the share price went from 360 in December all the way down to almost $1 in April. So over a 4-month period, the share price dropped by, what's that, 60%? So what's that, dollar divided by 360? $2. No, $2.60. 360. Oh, that's a lot. That's like 75%, 80%. And it didn't take much. Now, this was also a case, there was a trend killer here that was on the release of something on the 30th of January. Share price dropped a lot on that day. That was a trend killer. This could be another trend killer today. Not the best looking candlestick today. I'd like a really solid green candlestick. But when a company's share price is in a downtrend and they release something positive, that could kill the trend. Now, the problem with Zip is also going to be overall sentiment in the market. And if we see another downturn, another down leg in the bear market, I still think we're in a potential bear market. This could be just a little bit of a rally in the bear market. That means the share price of Zip will fall. So there is a little bit of risk of buying shares in a Zip right now, even though they did release something quite positive, which is an upgrade. Okay, so I've talked a little bit too long, or longer than I expected I would. And that means I am not going to answer any of your questions, just because, 54 minutes is a little bit longer than I usually do. Okay, so if you have any questions, any thoughts, and don't forget any questions about non-investing related stuff. Leave those in the comment section of this video or tomorrow's video. Anyway, so I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.